Welcome back to another episode of Ready Set Replay, the ultimate video game replay podcast. I'm Daniel, joined as always by my best friend Skyler.
Going on, y'all?
And this week we're going to be talking about Wario Land 3 for the Game Boy Color. What a game.
Yeah. Often touted as the best game on the Game Boy Color. Will we agree with that? I don't know.
No, certainly not the best.
I don't know. I don't see that either. The best. But I did not mind this game. I had a time.
But before we can get too much into Wario Land 3, we gotta hit the rewind.
Gotta go back to the proper setting.
What?
Ah.
So, the music at the time is basically unchanged from last week, with the exception that now Thong Song has moved to number 4. So people are really enjoying good old Cisco back in May 30th of the year 2000.
They sure did, didn't they?
I guess so. They were really a huge fan of how he had spray painted the entire top of his head silver, I guess.
Mm.
What a look. But also in the world of music, on the 30th, your boy Uncle Kracker released Double Wide, which has probably his most famous song in it.
Which one would that be?
It's called Follow Me.
Oh, yeah, I do know that one.
Yeah. I mean it's kind of like the one.
Yeah, I got you.
Also around this time, the good old Eddie Van Halen started treatment for tongue cancer, during which they would eventually end up having to remove a third of his tongue.
Yeah, that sucks.
At the time, he was quoted as saying, "I used metal picks, they're brass and copper, which I always held in my mouth in the exact place where I got the tongue cancer." And then there was a long pause, and he said, "I mean, I was smoking and doing a lot of drugs and a lot of everything, but at the same time, my lungs are clean, so it had to be the picks." Couldn't have been the proven to be cancerous carcinogens in like cigarettes. Had to be the metal picks. And the biggest story coming out of the world of music at this time is, of course, on the 24th, up-and-comer in the rap scene, 50 Cent, was shot 9 times.
Blood on the sand.
So yeah, he was still a complete up-and-comer. He wasn't really a known thing. He had basically just signed his first label, and he was leaving his grandma's house to get into the car with a friend of his. A person who was identified as being Daryl Baum walked up and shot him 9 times. The theory is that he had been paid by a local drug lord called Kenneth McGriff because he was mad at 50 Cent for having referenced him in a song called Ghetto Quran. But 50 was hit in the hand, arm, hip, both legs, chest, and left cheek, and part of the bullet that went into his cheek is still lodged in his tongue, or at least was a couple years ago when the article I read about this was written. So
there's no better way to establish yourself as super gangster than to survive being shot 9 times.
It's pretty dope, actually. He jokes that that the bullet in his tongue makes him better at oral sex. So there you go.
Okay, good job, Mr. Cent.
Also, as a fun little side story onto this, his shooter, who was a childhood friend of Mike Tyson, was also killed 3 weeks later, but we never really found out who or why. But I think we can kind of guess maybe.
How many times was he shot?
Didn't look it up, but probably less than 9.
He was shot 10 times.
Maybe.
The last one's the one that gets you.
In the movie world, the box office is looking pretty good. 2 new movies have come out: Mission Impossible 2, which is currently number 1 in the box office, and Shanghai Noon, which is currently number 4 in the box office.
Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Those aren't great. I mean, you can get what you need out of Shanghai Noon. It's it's whatever. It's fine. Mission Impossible 2 has its diehard defenders.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one of them. I think that movie's pretty dumb. But Tom Cruise almost get stabbed in the eye for real, and he loved it. He liked that.
He might be insane. Have we considered that possibility?
Are you familiar with the Mission Impossible 2 knife stunt?
I've seen a clip of it. I don't know like the scene.
So it's not like digital or effects or in any way. It's the knife was like on a really tight wire and they measured it so that it would stop exactly like millimeters from his eyeball. And he was like, "Dope, I trust." But you know what? He still has both of his eyes, so it worked out.
That man, he needs to be stopped.
hmm
Um,
But we can't. He's too fast. He's always running.
he's got a very choppy run, a very hands forward run.
Oh yeah.
Nowhere else that we can go with that. Uh, on the 31st, so one day after this, but it's the last day of the month, two TV shows will premiere. One is forgotten to the sands of time, but there was a Clerks animated series that no one really remembers, but I think got a handful of episodes. So,
Let me tell you. Yeah, it has 6 episodes, and I genuinely loved that show.
it's what?
Not at the time that it had came out because we were like 5,
Right.
but about 10 years after it had come out, I discovered it. I think I watched the Clerks animated show before I watched Clerks, the movie. So it has a special place in my heart. Glad it's come up on this podcast.
Yeah. And also on the same day, the very first episode of Survivor did premiere. So, pretty cool.
And it's just hitting us both where we live.
Yes. The first person booted in that episode was a very elderly school teacher whose claim to fame was that she played the ukulele and made everyone really happy. And then they voted her out because she couldn't perform in the tests, the challenges.
Oh,
So,
I thought the twist was that she couldn't play the ukulele. They were
no,
like,
she was
this
actually
lady's
really good.
annoying.
Yeah, it was really cute.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we loved her. In the bigger world, there were a couple of really big things happening. We'll start with one of the lighter ones, which is that Arthur C. Clarke, noted author of 2001: A Space Odyssey and also deep sea explorer, was knighted on the 26th. So, Sir Arthur C. Clarke. Also, on the 25th, after 22 years of occupation, the Israeli troops withdrew from southern Lebanon. I looked into the cause and everything surrounding it, and it's, boy howdy, does it sound real familiar to today. Basically, there was a very small terrorist group in Lebanon called Hezbollah that came across and attacked them like one time. And then they were like, guess we'll invade Lebanon. And then they stayed there for 22 years. And it was that invasion that made Hezbollah like become a thing because it grew in retaliation to the occupation. They bombed like every building that they could see because they said that every second house was an outpost of Hezbollah, because I guess that's just what we do when we're Israel in these situations. Basically, the entire world was like, yeah, they probably shouldn't have done that because it effectively created one of the, at the time, larger terrorist organizations. But they maintain that they shouldn't have, they pulled out because the UN forced them to. They maintain that they shouldn't have and should have, in fact, just continued and taken all of Lebanon. So there they are. Noted really bad neighbors, Israel.
Genuinely, what can be said?
Yeah, it's just, hey, that thing that's happening, not new.
History repeats itself.
New place, I guess, but not far off. On the 28th in Australia was the first and largest Walk for Reconciliation across the Sydney Harbour Bridge, where 250,000 people went on a brief hike across that bridge in order to sort of protest or bring light to the idea of forming a lasting political treaty and reconciliation between the Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Australia.
Like that.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know how much longer after that it took them to come to conclusion, to like actually like come to a resolution. A lot of people were for some reason against the idea of it because of course they were.
yeah.
But it's certainly better now than it was then. But I'm sure that there are still
Yeah,
issues.
I'm not up to date on how Australia is doing with their. I know their history is almost as bleak as ours with their indigenous people.
In Fiji, where Survivor is now shot all the time, but was not for this first season, there was a military coup where, Fiji, not the hugest country in the world, the entire thing took place over a series of months. And even though it had multiple skirmishes, only 4 people were ever killed. So
Hmm.
pretty small as far as military coups go. And
That's low enough
basically,
numbers that I'm willing to ask this silly question.
yeah,
Was the military coup, did it have anything to do with them wanting Survivor, but the Survivor started somewhere else?
no, no.
Okay.
Although weirdly, it's not that far off. So we're on like season 49 as we're recording this of Survivor, and every season since 33 has been in Fiji because they're just like they basically posted up there right before COVID, and then when COVID happened, they're like, well, we're just kind of gonna chill here because it's good for us. But they had been there once before, and it was season like 14, so it's actually not a particularly long time between where they are now and filming an entire season there. So I don't know. But basically, there's this military guy who took over because he wasn't happy with the current leadership, and then as soon as he got power, he was like, "Okay, now who wants to rule it?" And everyone said, "Well, you obviously." And he said, "No, I just didn't like the old guy."
Yeah,
And
dog,
then,
I can relate to that, to be honest.
well, don't take over a country if you don't have a plan.
Yeah, hey, someone else step up. I did all the hard work. Somebody else show up and fix it now.
Well, so within a year,
Or
through
just everyone stop going to work.
uh,
Let's all just stop.
it basically within a year because of his complete ineptitude and the fact that the rest of the world was like, okay, well, we're just gonna boycott your goods for a while. They ousted that guy almost immediately and then reestablished democracy in Fiji, which has lasted to this day.
Congratulations, Fiji.
Yeah. And then the very last thing I have on here is kind of dark a little bit.
Oh no.
In New York, this is the biggest thing that happened in America this week. In New York, 5 employees at a Wendy's in Flushing, Queens, were killed. They were executed in the walk-in freezer. Seven. So okay. So this guy John Taylor used to be a manager at this Wendy's, and he got fired because he was caught stealing, and he got really mad about that. So he hired a guy who the news listed as, and I quote, not my words, mentally slow. He gave him
Okay.
$300 and what he claimed to be a gold coin to
Oh,
rob the Wendy's. The Wendy's only had about $2,000 in the safe, so that's what they got away with for the like 2 days that they got away. But basically, yeah, they tied up 7 people and shot all of them in the back of the head in a walk-in freezer in the basement. And 2 of them ended up living, which is the good news, I guess. But it's very sad and bad because the guy who did the shooting, having been a previous manager at that location, like hired 2 or 3 of them and knew, I think, all of them personally. So it's just
yeah.
like,
Would have.
Also, he I believe is still alive. Last I was able to see, he's still alive. He's in prison. He's been in prison the whole time. People were pushing for him to get the death sentence because, like, what a douchebag. And
But yeah.
also, the reason why they got really close to giving it to him was because he at no point ever showed any remorse for it. He, in his testimony, was like kind of laughing about it and was like, yeah, it was like really easy actually. So basically, he was a psychopath, and I'm glad that Wendy's fell off. You know what I mean?
Because of that guy.
Yeah,
It all
well,
started
it
there.
was definitely his fault. Yeah.
I'm willing to believe that. Yeah.
And one last
Um,
very, very light thing. The book for The Princess Diaries was published on the 30th. There you go. Palate cleanser.
my
So,
palate doesn't feel very cleansed, but it's,
no,
we
no.
can we'll pretend.
Well, it was just, I mean, so yeah, there was a war in the Middle East, but they were
Yeah.
backing out of it, and 5 people were killed in a Wendy's, but 7 were shot and 2 lived. So, silver linings all around.
Yeah, I guess it's better than them all dying. God, this what an awful time.
Yeah.
We need to stop coming back to this awful year.
Yeah, we should stay in 2025 where everything's great.
We should find a different year.
So anyway, Wario Land 3.
Yeah.
Skyler, what are your top level thoughts on, I guess, sort of Metroidvania inspired but mostly a Mario game, Wario Land 3?
Yeah, kind of like what I said right off the top is I enjoyed this game. I've never played any Wario Lands before,
Yeah.
and everyone talks about. Well, actually, everyone talks about Wario Land 4. Everyone loves Wario Land 4, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, Wario Land 3 is, as mentioned, the quote unquote best Game Boy Color game." Which, again, I'm like, that can't be right though. I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
I can see people being in love with this. I get it.
so
I don't not understand, but
yeah.
that sounds crazy.
So you do say that. I pulled some things for trivia. Nintendo Power listed it as the ninth best Game Boy game of all time, and it was
Okay.
the 10th best selling Game Boy game in Japan, which is the only place that we have the numbers, I guess. So it's not necessarily number one, but it is very high, certainly. I don't know how many games came out for those two Game Boy and Game Boy Color platforms, but certainly more than 10. So yeah, it did very well for
Yeah.
itself.
The basis of gameplay of this is you go like level by level in this expanding map. The more you beat, the more it unlocks, of course, and then you can go back to previous levels and you just use power-ups and solve puzzles. You can't die. You can get knocked around or like inconvenienced a whole hell of a lot, but
Yeah,
there's only one game over in the entire game, and it's the final boss if you lose to him. And so it's all about just like thinking about what tool set you have and being like, how do I get up there? Oh, I do this. I get up this way, and then I can shimmy sham over this way, and then I got to make Wario fat so he can go down that way. And then I gotta have Wario get stung by bees so he can float up there. 'Cause I don't. That doesn't really make. But that's fine.
he's
Yeah,
allergic to bees.
I liked playing this game.
Okay.
I don't know if I. So there is coming to find out like 100 different levels in this game, and that's
Well,
immediately overwhelming.
not
You don't
exactly.
have to beat them all.
Yeah. There's 25 levels and
Yeah,
you can
okay,
play
fair
each
enough.
of them 4 times.
Each level has four different colored chests,
Yeah.
and there's a gray chest, red chest, green chest, and a blue chest, and that's the order you have to, for the most part, unlock them in. So when I say there's 100 levels, there's like 100 collectibles, is what I should have said,
Right.
throughout these 25 worlds, and you don't need all 100 of them to beat the game. You just need to get the 5 music boxes, and then you can fight the final boss, and then you're done. I
Mhm.
think by the time I finished the game, I had about 60, 62 or 3, something like that. I
Yeah,
was in the 60s.
I think I was in the same ballpark. I was like 64 or something. I don't remember
Mhm.
exactly. I'd have to go and look at it, and I'm probably not going to do that. Certainly not in the middle of this conversation. But yeah, I think I was pretty much in that same ballpark.
But yeah,
Uh,
I had a fun time for the most part. There's some bits that were frustrating of like where the hell am I supposed to go? I hit a point probably like the middle of my playthrough where I was like, because it's not really easy to get lost per se, because there is a part of the map that you go to and the guy just tells you where you're supposed to go next.
right.
So it's pretty straightforward in that sense. But I did get confused because I thought the level that he was telling me to go to I couldn't do because I didn't have the right power up. But turns out I just needed to pick up a rock that was like all the way in the far corner of the map, like hidden up at the top. And then I had
Yeah.
to like take that rock all the way back to the other side of the map and just throw it at a wall for a second.
Yeah, I know that level.
So
That's the like ice
so
one.
yeah, exactly. So that kind of stuff of like the sometimes the game isn't super clear on what to do.
Yeah, that's
Um
definitely true.
but I still I come away feeling fairly positive on it. How are you feeling? I did see your little GG review and it was lower than mine. So how you feeling?
Yeah, I didn't like this game. Like
At all, full stop?
yeah, basically at all. I think I think it's cute. Like I think it has some positives to it. Certainly, I think it has a lot of personality. I think the animations are cute. I like Wario. I his little butt jiggle every time he goes up a ladder is kind of neat. You know, I think that that's interesting. I think having it so that you can't die is a huge mistake because what they do instead is just piss you the fuck off every time an enemy touches you.
Yeah.
where like you'll get touched by a zombie and now you're falling 7 stories down back to the beginning of this bad platforming thing that you just had to do, or you'll get sneezed on by a bear and now you're all the way back to the left of the level, or you get hit by a guy with a hammer and now you're bouncing around for 45 hours. Like, j- honestly, just kill me. Just kill me. Like, this is so much worse. um
There were definitely points where it got worse than if I had just died. Yeah.
yeah, I also was pretty frustrated with how it wanted me to go back to all of the levels over and over and over again. Like, I understand that the mechanic behind it was mildly interesting, where as you get these collectibles from opening the chests, things would happen in the world where it's like, oh, now it's raining, and so this hole has become a lake, and now there's a level here. It's like, okay, that's kind of interesting. As a way to create new levels, I'm okay with that. But when it's like, hey, now we've stuck one little ladder made out of a vine that you grew in the far corner of this level. Go find it. Go do the level you already did, but now there's a vine here that leads up to one extra room where the chest now is. Like,
Yeah.
most of the time that you go back to a level, you're not getting anything new other than the chest, which I felt really repetitive and
That's true. The,
frustrating.
there there are these big ass golden coins that you can collect, which I straight up didn't bother. I asked a friend, I was like, "Hey, are these coins important to beating the game?" And he was like, "No, it just unlocks a new golf course that you can play at the end or something." I'm not even sure.
Right. I couldn't
Um,
care less about the golf, to be honest.
but as soon as I was like, "Oh, I don't need the coins," I'm definitely not getting the coins. Even like when I finished the game, I was like, I wouldn't hate going back in and like finding the last 40 chests or whatever that I needed. I could do that if I wanted to, but even if I did, I wasn't gonna go look for all the coins because there's 8 in
No.
each level, and they're all like a bitch and a half to get to.
It also,
And I was just
I
like, no,
don't
I'm not
know if
doing
this is
that.
true or not, but it seems like you have to get all 8 in the same go, because when I would go back and replay levels and I would finish, it would like recount how many I had gotten that time, and it would be like, you got 2, and it's like, well, didn't I get some the previous time? And it wasn't clear to me whether or not it was keeping track of the ones I'd
Yeah,
gotten before.
I'm not sure. I wasn't paying attention to that necessarily. I kind of assumed that it was just like counting from 0, including the ones that I've already gotten, but you might be correct. I'm
I'm not sure.
not
I
sure if
just,
it would even track.
yeah, I just wasn't. I wasn't sure about it, and I was like, I don't
They
think I'm
do
gonna
come
do
back
this.
every time you
Yeah,
do that. I do kind of wish, well, maybe it's asking a lot to for each level to remember the coins you already got. But I wish that the chests you already opened stayed open and you don't need to worry about the keys anymore. You just
right.
accidentally bump into a key you've already used and then it has to do a little doodaloo 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 and like keep you frozen in place for a second. It's just like I don't even want this key. It was just in my way.
Yeah. It was also because there's the big coins, but then there's the normal, like, smaller coins. They come in different
Mhm.
colors, which I assume is just different value numbers.
Monetary value it
Yeah.
has to be, yeah.
But then the only place that you use them is to go into the golf courses, which you only
Yeah.
have to do like 3 times, and it costs you 10. I by the time I was like, I don't know, had one of the 5 music boxes that you have to finish the game, I had so many coins.
I don't know if it's 10 every time. I think when you start, it was like cheap, and then I could swear that I did one that cost like 30 coins. But yeah, I did a handful of those. I definitely did more than 3, but I don't know how many were necessary because I did kind of faff around and do a couple bonus chests that I probably didn't need to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure.
The only time I did bonus chests was when the weird face man would say, go to this level, and then I would go to that level and I would open the wrong chest. And then he would be, no, go to that level again. And I went, okay, I guess I'll go back again.
That happened a couple times where, because like for the most part, you're going to get gray and then red and then green and then blue. But every once in a while, there's a level where like you didn't go back for red or green, and now you need to get blue. So I went there and I was like, oh, I got the red key. Then oh, I still need to go back in and do the green one. That happened once or twice for sure.
Yeah.
But like running each level, unless you're getting really fucked upon by zombies or bears sliding around, falling down big things you're supposed to climb. Running each level only takes like about 5-ish minutes,
Yeah, if
maybe
even.
maybe 10 if you're really getting screwed around.
Yeah, they're all really short, which is good. That's definitely a positive. I would say there's certainly a couple that are more annoying than others. Namely, like that ice one, I think is pretty annoying. Um,
Yeah. Well, they added like a sliding effect on the ice as well. That it's just like I'm trying to platform here,
yeah,
please.
which like that's just a thing that happens in every platforming game ever. So it's hard to be that mad about it, but it is
Sure.
annoying.
You know which one I got mad at a lot was I don't remember what it's called. Might be the grasslands, but it's like very grassy. But there's also like holes that you can accidentally drop down in the grass, and then you just have to like
Oh
go climb a
yeah,
ladder again, over and over again. And then like once you finally figure out where the holes are, then like a bug smacks your butt, and then you fly down the hole anyways.
yeah. Well, okay. So some of the things were extra annoying, and that bird was one of them, or bug, or whatever it was, because he would fly past you, and you'd get like dizzy, and you start wobbling back and forth. And you can
Yeah, that's
kind of
right.
control it a little bit. And so there was one time where I was able to control it to the point where I didn't fall down. And what happens is you just stay dizzy forever until
Yeah,
you hit water.
yeah.
And
There's a
it's
couple of
like,
status
hey
effects that
man,
will eventually wear off, but then there's some that like you have to fix yourself. Like the zombie, you have to go into light. Dracula, you have to get. I think you have to touch water.
yeah. But
Um,
you can also that one's also light, but
the the
water
the,
does it
the
too.
The Dizzy one is bullshit because it's really only there to mess you up. So like the ones I just mentioned, zombie, you become like a gooey zombie, and if you jump and you're on a thin platform, you'll fall down below, and you'll keep falling till you land on a big platform. And sometimes that's used for puzzles. So fine, sure.
Yeah.
And then the Dracula one, you can turn into a bat and fly around, and that's used for puzzles too. And then you have to like don't get hit by the water that's dripping from the ceiling, and you're like, okay, bet. But the Dizzy one, it's just there to be like, oh, you probably wish that didn't happen, fucker. And then you're just stuck until you fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, that one is just annoying. The one where you get frozen is just to piss you off.
Mm.
I want to say the one where they like string you up and put you into a ball is basically just for that. But there's like one instance I can think of where you have to do it to open a wall.
Yeah.
Uh, I would say about half of them feel more annoying than useful, including I'm going to turn into Flat Stanley that one because that one you
Oh,
do use for a lot of puzzles.
and it's not precise.
All
You
of
just
them
have to
are
pray that you've lined it up right.
yeah. So the power up is a big rock basically falls on you and you turn real flat like a Tom cat from Tom and Jerry.
Mhm.
And then if you fall off a ledge, he like drifts like a leaf, so he kind of sways back and forth as he goes down. And there's
Yeah.
one level in particular where you're supposed to try and line that up so that you fall into these barely wide enough slits for you to get in there to like get the collectibles and stuff. Um,
I did have to try that about like 6, 7 times
yeah,
before I got it.
it's not great. Like straight up, it's just not good. That one I think is probably the most frustrating of the powers. Although I will say, there's the like Castle of Illusion level where you like all of the keys are all the way over on one side, and then all the chests are just you climb up the thing, and they're in like all of the different 4 rooms that you get into.
I
And that one has zombies in it, and it made me hate the zombies so much.
mm.
Every zombie in that level can burn in hell, frankly. Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell.
So sometimes level design was annoying. I will definitely agree with you on that. But how did you feel about the bosses?
Uh, I think in concept, most of them are fine. They do
Hmm.
still have the problem of they can't kill you, and so if they touch you
Yeah.
once, they basically just knock you out of the boss fight, and then you have to completely restart.
That's the
So,
worst thing about the bosses for sure. Now, I like most of the bosses design wise.
oh, I think they're just kind of whatever, but yeah.
I think there's some cuties. I mean, some of them are simple and don't need to. One's just a worm, but he's angry, and I like that. So,
Oh, yeah, all right.
yeah, but there's as you said, because you can't die, what the bosses do, what their attacks do, is they just knock you out of the little arena you're fighting in, and you now have to like tread your way back to that room and then just start the fight over, which that sucks.
Hmm.
It does. But there were some that were worse than others. Some you could pretty much easily handle in one, maybe two goes. There was the little doll boy. I think he's the first one you find.
Yeah, he's not too bad.
Uh, he's a Daruma doll.
Yeah,
You have to like knock the barrels out from under him. I'm not gonna remember the exact order, but you do fight the worm. His name is Wormwood.
right.
I like that.
He
There's a
he's annoying, but he's all right, I guess.
You just have to stomp his head. There's a Kitsune guy who you just have to like knock the stuff he shoots at you at him and ricochet it off the wall and either aim it well or just pray it gets him.
Yeah, I think I pretty much hit him every time. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I barely remember that boss, honestly.
There's a weird yellow guy. I don't know what his deal is, but he tries to poke you with his spindles and turn you into a balloon.
What?
He's
Oh,
a
he's like a
he's the
balloon.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, well,
I
because you
guess that's
inflate
what he
him.
is. Oh yeah, you do, don't you?
You beat him by inflating him until he pops. Because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Miyamoto was really into inflation this year.
Ooh, there's a spider, there's a fish, there's an octopus guy or a squid if you're nasty. I think it actually is a squid. There's something I don't know what it is. It's like a lizard. You fight him on a wall. There's like a couple of boss fights where like it changes from just like just find a way to jump on him and like it throws the find a way to jump on him, but you're in a different like you have to climb vertically up like a mesh wall while this guy like rocks around on it and tries to hit you with
Right.
his tail.
Yeah, him and the squid fight are pretty much the same thing.
He kind of just looks like a poop. I don't really know.
Yeah, I think he is supposed to be like a fat tail gecko or salamander or something.
Yeah.
It's he just spins around and tries to hit you with it. He has like a spike ball tail. He tries to hit you with it, and you just step on his head, and he goes I don't know. It's pretty easy. Honestly, the only fights that I hated was the dickhead soccer playing bunny.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That one's bad, like really bad.
I heard from a mutual friend of ours that was there with you while you were doing that part that
Yeah,
you both hated it
it's
and
terrible.
how terrible it was. And that was before I had gotten to it, and I was like, "Uh-oh, okay." And then I got to it, and I'm not going to disagree with you because
Uh,
it took me a
this is
fair bit to
This is where Skylar's built different.
uh, you're going to make me say it. I
Uh-huh.
didn't struggle with him that bad.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you didn't. He's fucking terrible. So what it is he's a rabbit, and you have to play soccer with him by if he jumps on you, then you turn into a ball, and if you jump on him, then he turns into a ball, and you have to knock him into the net that is being guarded by a turtle. The
Mhm,
turtle you can hit so that he can't block the net, but he only stays down
mhm.
for about .5 fucking seconds.
Yeah,
And also, even when he is down, you just can't get the fucking ball into the net because it's about 1 pixel wider than the size of the ball that the rabbit turns into when you jump on him.
yeah, yeah.
It's horseshit. It's absolutely irredeemably terrible.
So I think the trick is don't fuck with the turtle at all. Just like jump hit the guy and then he'll shoot over the turtle's head. That's what I kind of like lucked into doing.
I think I did that like once, but it's damn near impossible. The turtle takes up 2/3 of the net.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying I don't disagree with you. Like this guy was probably the boss that I don't want to say struggled with the most because like I didn't die because the gimmick is like they try to throw you in the net 3 times too. So like
Right.
this is really the only boss fight where you're allowed multiple hits. Um, so I don't think I restarted on this guy like I had to with multiple other bosses. But yeah, I did when I beat him. I was like, I feel like I got lucky. I didn't feel like I nailed that. No, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take that for what it was and then move on and not think about it.
Yeah, that's fair. It's Definitely the worst boss fight in the game, though. Because the only other one we didn't talk about is so the stupid big face guy who tells you where to go at the beginning of the game. Uh, who he's like, hey man, collect these 5 music boxes to restore my power, and then I'll be a good guy. Definitely a good
Yeah.
guy. Nothing bad'll
Hmm.
happen. Anyway, turns out he's a giant evil clown,
Hmm.
who doesn't get a name until apparently he's also the main villain, by the way, of Dr. Mario 64, in which he is finally given a name of Rudy the Clown. This boss
Yeah.
fight is not hard, but it is a little bit annoying because so you have to his hands are free floating, and you have to do the thing that is so common in games like this,
You
where
butt stomp.
you have to butt stop his hands, and then you can pick them up and throw them at him. I can think of like I think 4 other Mario bosses that do this exact thing.
Hmm.
But at one point in the game, you get a mechanic where you can like charge a throw and throw a thing up. And so I was
Yeah.
trying to do that for a minute, where I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'll do that. Except you can't do that because he hits the ground, and as soon as he hits the ground with his other hand, then you just drop it. So you just have to
Yeah.
jump and throw it at his nose. And I'm like, okay, well,
Hmm. It
all
also
right,
took me a
man.
second to realize I had to jump. I tried the same thing. I was like, okay, I throw it. Oh, it doesn't reach. Okay, I charge it. Nope, can't charge it. And then I the way this because it's a Game Boy Color game, so the way that it controls, it's not like
Good.
super easy to like hit multiple buttons very quickly. I don't know if
Yeah.
that makes sense, but you kind of have to like train your brain, be like, okay, no, I can do that. Just very quickly jump and then throw, and then once you hit his nose, he goes. "Arr." Also, I think you have to hit him 4 times, not 3. We put one more in there
Riveting
just to mess with
gameplay.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he really, the entire boss fight, he has like 2 moves. He does sweeping punches where you can jump on his thing, and then he has another one where he like claps his hands together, and if he catches you in that, then you just die.
well,
Um,
he
and
also but he changes that up because he's got a
yeah,
big clap and he's got a little clap.
it changes like how high on the screen it is. So sometimes you have to duck underneath it, and sometimes you have to jump over it, and it's kind of hard to tell when it's going to happen. But whatever. He's not too bad. He is a horrible nightmare clown monster, which I'm not a huge fan of, but
Oh yeah,
otherwise it's probably fine. And then when you beat him, it turns out that all of the people whose asses you've been kicking the whole game were just kindly old women.
yeah, and a little wizard.
Yeah, he had turned all of the people inside the music box world that you had been sucked into all of the weird ass monsters that you then have to fight. I feel like there's sort of a weak theming too with this, where it's like, okay, so the clown's got powers, and he did he turn all the people into like circus monsters? No, not really. There's like jellyfish guys and a bear and like a
Yeah,
caterpillar. Well, so what? I don't. I was like, okay, we just picked things. We just picked random things out of a hat, and we said, this one's gonna be a little electric guy that comes out of the wall, and he goes,
yeah.
and he goes
I
back
mean,
in.
I guess it's less like all circus themed because he's a clown, and it's more they they thought of like what villains go in an ice level and what goes in a big castle level and what goes in a mountain by the volcano level, and then they at the end just like, yeah, everything was a guy.
Yeah,
Um,
I think they do
the
that theming pretty weakly too, though.
the the I guess it hasn't actually been said. The cute little story that we're going for here is Wario's flying around in his little biplane and it crashes, presumably because he didn't fill up the fuel or
It's
something.
because his
Wario's an
butt's too
idiot.
big.
Yeah, probably. He crashes and then he goes into a cave and there's just a big ass music box there and he's like, "Oh, I'll touch this." And it sucks him inside and that's the world he's in for this entire game. Is inside that music box. And the first person he finds is this big face who turns out to be the evil clown who says, "Help me." And then you do and then you fight him.
Yeah, it's like kind of similar, I guess, to the theme of God, which Zelda game is that with the dream fish or whatever the fuck?
Oh, yeah. Link's Awakening.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of that, and it has the mechanical difference between like the difference it seems. And this is the only Wario Land game I've played, so I don't know if this is like unique to this one. between this and just a normal Mario game that everyone has played is the getting new powers and going back and the castle, the Metroidvania aspect of it, where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
now I can go back and I can ground pound this thing, or I can pick up a guy and throw him through this wall. And like that is vaguely interesting. I think if there was less dicking around between the levels, like getting between them, then maybe it wouldn't feel like such a hassle to be like, oh, now I have to go back to level 2 again to go get the key that'll give me, I don't know, a candle, and then the candle will melt a thing somewhere. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, sometimes you would open a chest and you would get a thing, you'd be like, I don't even know what the fuck that is. And then
Well,
3 chests
yeah.
later, it would combine with 2 other things to turn into, I still don't know what, and then it would blow a hole in a mountain. You'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so it took me a while to not figure that out. Because like you're just going along and you're like, I picked up a thing, it didn't do anything. I guess it's got to go with something else, and then you just keep going. But when you go to your item screen, and you find like there's 100 different slots that are all empty at the start of the game,
Hmm.
and then if you go to like a specific slot, it'll like kind of like light up with like little arrows pointing at it, but then it'll point like to the next one next to it, or maybe the next two next to it. And at first I was like, what the hell does that mean? But then once you start finding items, you're like, oh, of course, the lighter goes with the lamp. Like they both light up at the same time. It's telling you like this goes with something else is basically all it is.
Yeah.
Not
Well, but you
not
don't even.
excusing
You,
not excusing the feeling of going through a level and getting something. It's just like that's not it. You have to go find something else.
oh, good. I've
It's just
gotten
like
the used tissue. Now I can save Christmas or something. Yeah, it's weird. It's also like, I mean, that's cool. It's cool that it like tells you, hey, these things go together. But you don't need to know that. You don't actually combine the things yourself. You know, it
yeah,
just
no.
happens. So you'd be just as well served just doing
It's
random things.
basically it's basically served for like if you're a kid playing this in the year 2000 and you're just like you don't know what to do, or maybe you do know what to do but you want to like find a secret or something. If you're really gung-ho about completing the thing, I mean, the fact of the matter is you just get out a piece of paper and write down what levels chests you haven't gotten yet and then just cross through that. But I guess if you're like, oh, this goes with something else, I want to find what that is and then do it, then you can just keep going that way. I guess this is it's a at its heart, it's a time waster game, and I mean that as a doesn't sound like a compliment, but that is what it's supposed to be. You know,
I guess, yeah.
it's just like it's the year 2000. Kids, we want you to put 100 hours in this and keep replaying it and play it at school, play it in your bed, play it on the toilet. It's a time waster.
Yeah. I Between this and a couple of the other recent games we've played, I'm starting to think we just didn't like kids in the 2000s.
Oh,
I think we just were like, all right, here's some lead paint and firecrackers. Have fun. Because
yeah.
it's just like, if you take a lot of the games that we've been playing so far and compare them to most modern games, they are arduous. They are damn near torturous in some cases. And in a lot of cases, they don't even tell you what to do. So you just have to kind of like slam your forehead against it until you're like, oh, of course, these crystals combine with that crystal, and then the door opens. It's like, all right. Like there's no rhyme or reason to like where things are going to be or anything in this game. And that's true of a lot of games that we've played where it just doesn't tell you shit. And I'm starting to feel really bad for kids who are playing video games in the year 2000. I'm like, genuinely, I think we've played what, 2 games, 3 games that were like actually good and fun, and even those ones were like a little clunky. Man, like if this is the ninth or 10th best game on the Game Boy, then the Game Boy may have just not been a great platform for kids.
Am I crazy? How is Pokemon not number one?
It had, well, I mean, this one is listed as the ninth or 10th best selling one in Japan, so it probably is, because Pokemon Red
Right.
and Blue are like one of the best selling video games period of all times.
But so when you like see people, because I found multiple different reviews of this game, not from back then, but like contemporary reviews
Yeah.
of of people being like, "This is hands down the best game on the Game Boy Color." Now let's take away the fact that you didn't like it and I liked it, but I'm not in love with it. Right? Let's take
Right.
that away. How is it not Pokemon? How is it?
It well,
Am I
okay.
crazy?
Those people are probably either wrong
So
or they're
maybe
saying
maybe they hate Pokemon. Maybe they're like, oh, it's the best game, not including any Pokemon.
there's also a solid chance that they're just hyping it up for whatever video like retrospective that they're making, so they can be like, this is one of the best, most underrated gems of the Game Boy Color. Oh my god, you didn't play this, did you? It's so good. I'm so unique and special for having found it. And you're like, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because if you look at like what the actual best games of the Game Boy are, it's gonna be Pokemon Red and Blue, Pokemon Gold, Tetris was huge. Like those are gonna be the big
Yeah.
ones. And then Wario Land 3 is gonna be like basically honorable mention, maybe.
I I'm trying to think. I would need to do a deep dive on the Game Boy Color library to see, because I can see this hitting a top 10 or a top 15. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. I just need to know how much on the Game Boy Color was worth it, like better than this, you know? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, was Wario Land 4 on the Game Boy? Because that's the one everyone says is like the good one.
Well, I don't know if it was color or if it was advanced. I'm not sure.
That's fair. How many Zeldas were on Game Boy? There had to have been, legally, there had to have been at least one.
Wario Land 4 is on the Game Boy Advance. So that one's probably even higher than top 9.
I'm looking up a list. Polygon. Okay, well, this is kind of cheating because they have them listed by series, so that's not particularly helpful. But number one is the Donkey Kong series. Number two, Game Boy Camera, which is what the fuck are we talking about? Uh,
That shouldn't count as a game.
Number three is the Pokemon series, and then number four is the Wario Land series. So it's like, okay, well, that doesn't help. And also, frankly, crazy that they put it above Legends of Zelda Link's Awakening. Like, I've heard nothing but good things about that game, and then I played this one, and I'm like, I don't know about all that. Yeah, I don't know. Basically, what I'm coming down on is like maybe the Game Boy library is just not good because I don't think this is a great game. I don't think it's a terrible game or anything. Um, but of all the games that we've played so far, this is probably one of the ones that I would least want to touch again, like bottom three.
Including Daikatana.
I would actually probably rather play Daikatana again because it is shorter
That's
and more straightforward.
that's absolutely insane. I don't think it was shorter.
It felt shorter.
I
I don't know if it was, but it
I
definitely felt
I
shorter.
I breezed through this compared to Daikatana. Well, do we want to get into our scores then? I don't know if we have a whole lot more to say. We've covered the bosses. We've covered. It's your typical platformer as far as worlds go. There's a grassy one. There's an
Yeah,
icy one. There's a
there's the
fire
fire one.
one.
Uh,
A Wario. Wario's cute. If I ever played this again, it's because Wario's a cutie. I like Wario.
Wario is cute. For people who don't know, he is Mario's evil twin, except not related to him at all. And the reason he's called Wario is not because the M is upside down. It's because the word for evil in Japanese is warui. And so they just combine that with Mario.
He's also like he's fat, but he's strong fat. He's got like
I disagree.
bulging. He's got bulging arms in this game.
We've seen his ass on the back of a Mario Kart. That's not strong fat. That's caked out.
He's strong fat in this game for sure. He
Until he gets a
lifts.
donut.
He doesn't do anything else, but he lifts,
He does. He definitely does
and I
lift.
respect that.
That's one of the
Um,
weirder power ups. The donut one, by the way.
he eats a donut and gets real
He gets
fat,
real
and
fat.
then
But then
crushes through stuff.
also, and it's setting a bad example for kids. You also get fat if you eat an apple. What the fuck is that?
I I think Wario just has like issues with digestion.
I think so. Yeah, almost certainly. Okay. Well, let's get into the scoring then, because it's a very simple game. I don't know what else there is to say about it.
Yeah.
Um, on our not stolen review scale, where a 10 is a masterpiece, a 9 is amazing, an 8 is great, a 7 is good, a 6 is okay, a 5 is mediocre, a 4 is bad, a 3 is awful, a 2 is painful, and a 1 is unbearable. What are we thinking, Sky?
You're gonna go lower than me, and that's fine. It'll probably average us out about where we need to be, I
Yeah.
guess. As mentioned, I liked it. I wasn't in love with it. It when people tout it as like the best game on this handheld console. I guess you kind of expect a little extra oomph, but I still enjoyed it. I'm glad I played it. I'm gonna give this a 7, which is good.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's definitely fair. I'm definitely lower on it. I think that this has not crossed the bar of like a game that as a kid I would rather play instead of just being outside. You know what I mean? Like I would much rather just be like riding a bike or doing
Sure.
anything. I also found it like deeply frustrating, and we didn't talk about it, but I also think the music is really annoying, especially when you
Oh
have to hear
yeah,
it
well
over and over and over again.
that's just uh that's just the Game Boy what we're working with. Granted, other games, you know, put more into it. I play with the sound off for the most part.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. Some of the noises that happen when you get hit are infuriating. So I'm giving this a 5. I think this is a mediocre game. I don't think it's bad. I think that it is a video game that you look at and you're like, uh, there's some personality here. I think you had some ideas. I don't think you capitalized on any of them. I also I don't know. I've said everything that I can about it. I think it's just
Mhm.
like I'm not mad at the game, but there's pretty much no shot I'm gonna touch it again.
That makes our aggregate score a 6 out of 10, which is okay.
That feels about right. I'm good with that.
So listeners at home, have you played this game? What do you think?
Yeah. Hey guys, if you want to tell us what all of the games that are apparently better or
Oh,
worse than this on the Game Boy,
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
well,
Flag on the play.
yeah.
I'm updating our list of all of our aggregate scores,
Ah,
and we have a decision to make
okay,
definitively
sure.
because our aggregates for Wario Land 3 and Pokemon Stadium are now the same.
Hmm.
Which one is higher?
I would put this above Stadium because Stadium. My problem with Stadium was that it was an incomplete game that they were selling to children for extra money. It was straight up a ripoff. This is a complete game. It's just an annoying game.
Hmm.
So I would put this
Hmm.
above Stadium.
This is tricky for me because I would put this below Stadium. So now we just have to like coin toss this.
I mean,
But
we
we need
could
to
just leave
call.
them at the same score. It's also fine.
No, we need a tiebreaker.
All right, flip a
We need to
coin.
know which one. We would need to know which one definitively is higher than the other.
I don't know that a coin is gonna do that definitively, but I'm not gonna stop you from flipping one.
I'm gonna call Steven.
All right, bring
I'm
him
gonna
in here.
call. I'm gonna call our friend. No, not on the. I'm just gonna put him. Gonna put him on my phone. Hang on. For those listening at home, this is a first time. I'm calling in a tiebreaker. He answered. Steven, I'm recording the podcast right now with Daniel. Say hello. Okay. We have come to a problem. We we gave Wario Land 3 and Pokemon Stadium the same aggregate score, and we need a tiebreaker on which one's better. Which one is better, Wario Land 3 or Pokemon Stadium?
Some game and action you're looking for,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
One's kind of a plug and play, just I want to play with Pokemon, battle a little while, maybe play the mini games a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The other one's a dedicated platformer. You gotta beat each level to level,
Mm-hmm.
beat the boss, etc. Um, this is weird. Personally, I would, because I'm a big Pokemon fanboy, I'd say Pokemon. But you're not gonna waste your time playing any of the Wario Land games. You're gonna have a fun time.
So wait,
Well,
so what's your answer?
depends. Eh, that's a purely for nostalgia. Pokemon Stadium.
Okay. I should have known that calling the Pokemon guy was cheating. Thank thank you. I love you. Depending on how well the audio turns out, this was your podcast debut.
Time to make a mark.
All right, bye. Love you. Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Love you. Bye.
All right, he said Pokemon, I guess.
So, all right. So Pokemon is like 0.05 or some shit above Mario Land 3.
It matters. Once we get to the end of this year and we're like,
Are you
ranking the top 10s?
updating the score on them, or are you just
No,
like, oh, okay,
no,
you're
just
tiering
just
them?
literally Wario Land 3 is a 6 out of 10 underneath Pokemon Stadium, which is a 6 out of 10.
Gotcha. So like, if this was a tier list, it would be. I gotcha. I
Yeah.
understand.
So Wario Land 3 is in between Pokemon Stadium and Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, yeah, that feels like about the right zone. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you guys want to tell us which one of those two should have been on top of the other, or what games on the Game Boy were even worth playing, you can leave a comment on Spotify and YouTube. They have comment sections in both places, and we would love to see comments and engagements in both of those places. You can
Yeah,
follow the
you
show
know-
on. Ooh,
I was going to say, you know what? If you have a game from the Game Boy Color that's worth playing and came out in the year 2000,
or later.
maybe we'd love to hear it, and we'll throw it on our list.
True. You can follow the show on Twitter at rsr_pod, or you can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Daniel J. McGee.
You can follow me on Blue Sky at Skyler8bit.
And until next time, everybody, play more games.
Games.
The game's just starting, the world's so bright. Jump right in, everything feels right. Let's play, take a trip back in time where pixels and memories